Hi everyone, welcome to our next Workplace Ninjas Netherlands live Ask Us Anything recording. My name is Frans Oudendorp and as always, Ronny de Jong is joining me today again. This is a live recording and will be shared on YouTube and as a podcast on the different platforms. If they are available, we will announce them through our social channels. If you have any questions regarding this topic, feel free to ask the questions in the chat so we can address them in the conversation. So Ronny, what do I have today?
Yeah, thanks, Frans. Thank you for the introduction. Thanks everyone who is joining on the call. Today the topic is about Windows 365. Windows 365 was unveiled during Inspire this year and became available August this year. And yeah, I'm proud we have Christiaan Brinkhoff joining us today. Christiaan is Principal Program Manager and Community Lead of Windows 365 for Microsoft, and he recently moved to the US. And welcome, Christiaan. You're also well known by the community. You're running also your own blog at christiaanbrinkhoff.com. And many of the community know you from the end user computing and virtualization. You have a quite track record built up. And perhaps it's great to briefly introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Ronny and Frans. Probably you already did it, right?
Yeah.
So I think you did a great job there. So normally they don't introduce me so comprehensive. So thanks for that. So Pierre, Christiaan Brinkhoff from the Netherlands, just moved to the US. Have been part of Microsoft for roughly 3 years. Came in with the Avis Logics acquisition, so that happened like 2.5, 3 years ago. So that made me do the move into Microsoft. I had the opportunity to first be a freelancer in Microsoft to really sort of get a sense of how it is to work for Microsoft, then move to the so-called global black belt team of Azure Virtual Desktop, previously known as Windows Virtual Desktop. So I helped to sort of establish a market in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, more the middle section of the planet, and help like every business, every like Microsoft subsidiary to establish like a set of knowledge as well as content, as well as like customer engagements, and that eventually was such a great success that now like everything goes on its own. And during that time, I've been asked by Scott Manchester, who was the lead of Azure Virtual Desktop, and now as well Windows 365, to join the engineering team. And maybe some of you know that, but if you join engineering, it implies basically as well to move to the US. And with like COVID and things are changing, things are more flexible right now. But just to be frank, if you work for a company that is 9 hours back in time and you have meetings every day, 9 hours back, that's almost impossible. So that combination be like impactful and as best like immersive with the team, I decided to move to Redmond. So I'm here since 3 months. I like it here. My family is here as well. The weather is good. Becomes a little bit more rainy now, but we are used to that in the Netherlands. So for me, that's fine. It's probably worse if you come from, I don't know, Africa or some warmer continent or something on the planet. But yeah, that's basically what I do, what I did, and why or how I came into Microsoft. Before I came into Microsoft, and still right now, I really encourage the community mindset. So I drag that basically from outside Microsoft inside Microsoft. So I see myself as a PM, so I deliver features and such. So I'm currently working on, for example, Windows 11 integration and as well the release of Windows 11 that's coming soon. But as well readiness and communities such like these kind of events, as well as like creating technical content more from the community angle, helping people in the community to perhaps become an MVP and things like that. So all kinds of things that I do. So it's like, you have a PM, and that's kind of one set of things that you do. And on the other side, I do the community piece as well. So it's a really fun job. And yeah, being here at campus is amazing as well, because you are really like at the core of the product. So you can really influence and yeah, share ideas around something at the beginning of when something gets shipped in the product. So that's really great.
I think it's a strong combination, Chris, when you're involved directly with the features, but also with the community, as they also giving you honest feedback, I think, and also coming up sometimes with great ideas, which never passed our minds, because we also mostly working from certain structure. But I recognize it, and it's always great to be passionate on a topic and share that knowledge or your experience with the communities. Always appreciated. So at least we can say the dust has settled yet now after 3 months and everything unpacked.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and yeah, Inspire is kind of a launch event, because like in July, the new Microsoft year starts, and then new products are being announced. And just to give some insights here, so the plans were to announce it earlier, but due to some delays, we couldn't do it earlier. So Inspire was like the big event next coming up, and yeah, we were very happy to sort of open the gates and release all the NDA and conversations we had. Like previously, it was called Project Disputes, so we couldn't say the product name. So the best thing about the product name is that we kept it silent until the release. So everybody was like, "Hey, this is a great product name," and nobody heard from it before. And normally in Microsoft, things get leaked sometimes, pretty like a couple of months before, right? So we held that secret pretty good, in my opinion. So we were very happy about that, because yeah, people heard from Cloud PC because there was something like leaked, and people did some research on the internet, but didn't know about like Windows and 365 as a combination. And that's a very powerful brand, of course, and that reflects really as well where we are and where we continue to be as part of the product. So
before we go into more details about what Windows 365 is, and you're already heading towards, we always opening the conversation, which is actually already started, with some statements. So it's a true or a false, and we have prepared 4 statements, and just challenging you about the statement. And the first one is Windows 365 is just another desktop virtualization service.
yeah, you asked that to me. Of course not. No. I can clarify. I can clarify that. So the reason why I'm saying that is because the service is completely, like from a virtualization perspective, it's a remoting technology. So you remote into a virtual machine eventually. So from that perspective, it's similar to other technologies. The difference is that we bring it in a way that every IT admin can do it. So all the complexity from a VDI technology from the past is basically gone. So if you are an IT admin that manage like physical PCs, you can like spin up like a cloud PC as well without any VDI knowledge. And just to give you some insights on what we are working on here is that we will bring more cloud PC components directly inside Windows as well. So you will see that virtualization will still be around, but it comes from a SaaS kind of perspective. So the complete virtualization layer is something you don't touch anymore as an IT admin. And that's the reason why we say it's Cloud PC, because we really want to differentiate from all the current solutions in the market that do it different. And you can build like your own AVD environment, for example, and create a framing around that and do that as a partner solution. That's possible too, but that's different. That's coming from either a partner or from yourself, from an internal department. And that's the same thing what you have been seeing like 10 years back. Desktop as a service, for example, was possible to leverage as well, because a partner built the environment and they maintained everything on behalf of the customer, and that was called like desktop as a service. And now it's kind of on top of that, and then coming from Microsoft itself. So you can like just like as you can leverage Exchange Online, you can as well leverage like Windows in the cloud, and that's kind of a differentiated kind of experience. And that's the reason why we say so it is a desktop virtualization technology, but you cannot compare it with existing desktop virtualization technology. That's probably the best way to explain it.
Oh, actually, you're saying you're democratizing the virtualization of a desktop, actually, with the benefits and without all the challenges.
Essentially, I'm saying that if you look back like 8 years, you look back on your IT department, you saw like maybe 3 Exchange administrators, right? That did like mailbox kind of maintenance and configuration and such. And if you now look like around, you probably see just one that maintains like Exchange Online for, I don't know, maybe 10 or 20,000 customers at the same time. And that's kind of the same kind of motion what you will see as well happening with Windows 365. It's of course early days, so if I ask you this question for Exchange Online the first year, you were probably saying, "Ah, no, we want to use Exchange on-prem, and that's what it is and what it has been for like the last 20, 30 years." But that will democratize and becomes more simplified and easier and more approachable for customers as well that are seeking to leverage a virtualization technology, but have never done that because it was too complex, too not cost effective. So too expensive, basically. With Windows 365, you get a fixed price model. Some customers really like that because you have predictable costs, so you know beforehand what your costs will be eventually, where other solutions are more like, hey, I start with something and I end somewhere at the end, and I probably align or not with my expectations in my design. So that's kind of a different way of looking at the product. So
okay, well, that's a good statement. Let's go on to the next one, the second one. Windows 365 solves our complexities of remote working.
Yeah, so basically I partly answered that already. So it depends as well where you come from as a business. So if your business is working with Microsoft Endpoint Manager today to manage the physical environment, for example, then it's a very easy shift to replace your existing remoting solution for Windows 365 and simplify that complete layer of management. If you're coming from another technology and you don't use Microsoft Endpoint Manager today, then you need to learn something about Microsoft Endpoint Manager, of course. But that's what we see that more customers are doing. They consolidate with Microsoft 365 E3 or E5. And as part of that, they start to leverage more Endpoint Manager solutions and as well Microsoft 365 cloud apps. So it's a natural flow in that stack in terms of the knowledge and as well the modern desktop kind of certificates and course track that you can learn for that. So the question or the answer to that question is yes, you can. But if you are not inside the Microsoft stack, like Microsoft Endpoint Manager yet, then you need to learn a little bit about that. But once you're in, you will see that the level of simplicity and all the different consoles that you probably experience today will all come together in one unified management layer. So
yeah, so definitely it solves the complexity from an operational perspective, but also linking more to also from an end user perspective, the way of remote working today, as we working from home initiatives. I believe it's also facilitating in those kind of use cases to ease that approach and not necessarily and require or shipping and hardware to someone. It's outside, just having a virtual desktop under the fingertips.
Yeah,
I believe that's yeah.
And how cool would it be if you have in the future like autopilot to enroll a device that is purpose built to connect to perhaps your cloud PC and purchase that for a cheaper price because the resources don't have to be as as like intense as they are today, perhaps when you do everything locally. And then you can ship it, configure it, and then the user logs on, and then everything's automatically being configured. And that's kind of the mindset where we are in right now as part of Microsoft, and as well the kind of movement we want to make. So I'm not making any promises here, but kind of the excitement around Windows 365 is amazing. That as well reflects into the Windows engineering team. So the Windows engineering team comes to us as well to work together on a couple of projects here. And that's kind of what I said like earlier, that like merging process, that like consolidation of Windows and virtualization and the complexity from the past is something you will see in the future happening, and probably sooner than you might think. So
Yeah.
Sorry,
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, yeah, I just wanted to say that that's kind of as working for Microsoft, coming from like the virtualization space myself. So I have been pretty involved in Citrix and VMware in the past, and I've been a part of those communities as well. So I know a little bit how to maintain those environments, to build those environments, as well as to to be part of a community and present those solutions. And now bringing all that knowledge together and making it simpler for more customers and partners to leverage technology like that. That's I think as an IT like administrator or a passionate IT engineer, so to say, that's the best thing you can do as part of your day job. So yeah, I really I'm blessed that I can impact this solution and bring my knowledge into the team, and as well the products that we ship together. So
well, then we are almost to our last statement. There is still rationale for Azure Virtual Desktop with the introduction of Windows 365. True or false?
Yeah, true. So just to make a quick intro or a statement of this. So Windows 365 is not replacing Azure Virtual Desktop. So that remains just like a platform as a service product on Azure. But there will be like scenarios where customers say, hey, Windows 365 is kind of the solution where we were looking for 2 years back, but it wasn't there. So we went for Azure Virtual Desktop. So we have a couple of customers saying that. We have customers as well. We like the remote app, publish app approach better. And we want to keep like the main core like workload on-prem or on the physical PC. And then they go to Azure Virtual Desktop because remote apps are not supported in Windows 365. So they can work side by side together and as well bring like a desktop experience to this customer, then as well the virtual app. So there are kind of 3 flavors active there, but it really depends where you want to be as a customer. Do you want to spin up that environment and have a department inside your IT department that create and maintains that and knows exactly how to flip the switch and configure scaling and all those things? So if that's sort of coming from the original VDI background, like having a virtualization kind of team. And with Windows 365, Microsoft is basically doing that, like scaling and the complexity for you. So you can consolidate those processes more. So it depends probably which person you're talking with in a business. So if you're talking with a CIO or more like C-level management, they really want to continue the digital transformation and making the processes that have been complex easier, and leverage like SaaS solutions as much as possible for that. And then Windows 365 is the best match for that. If you want to continue what you're doing right now and want more flexibility, then Azure Virtual Desktop is the best way possible, perhaps. And maybe in the future it will be Windows 365. We leave everything open for the customer because we want to serve where customers are today, basically. So so it could be that customers go for Azure Virtual Desktop right now, and in the future for Windows 365. It could be that they stay on Azure Virtual Desktop because they like what they built, and they're changed like their migration processes and such. They don't do that often, so they decided to go for Azure Virtual Desktop, stay there for 3 to 5 years, and then perhaps look around and see what the next step in the digital transformation is. So yeah, it really depends where you want to be. and as well, yeah, how the organization is structured and what kind of other technologies you're using today. So yeah, we really breed the modern management experience, and that's what you see because the Windows 365 stack completely works in Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So there are currently some dependencies, and we probably dive deeper into that later on. But in like the next upcoming future, in the next couple of months, we will release Azure AD native support as well. And that means that we can do almost everything inside the Microsoft Endpoint Manager console. So you don't have to leave it anymore for like an Azure Virtual Network and such. So that's really what we think that will be the moment where our product for the big enterprises really starts to shine even more than it does today. So.
Yeah, and thanks for that clarification, Chris. When looking out, you already had some clarifications about the Azure Virtual Desktop and Windows 365, the differences, and why when you should use one of them. One of the questions from the community is if you have the experience in-house and the correct people for creating VDI and such. Why should I use Windows 365 now? You already cleared something on that. But is there some extensible profit to use Windows 365 instead of Azure Virtual Desktop? From a business perspective, probably.
Yeah, so what I already said, of course, is that simplicity level and that consolidation inside Microsoft Endpoint Manager. The other big benefit is the fixed price model. So what we configure on the back is a personalized cloud PC. So you are the owner of the cloud PC. So what you install, what you publish, what you do on that cloud PC, that's like personal to the user. And the cost involved with that is pretty cheap, let's say it like that. If you use a personalized Windows 10 desktop on Azure in a 24/7 manner, so you use it like every time on the day, and it's like easy to use and easy to connect to whenever you want on a day. It's not possible to come near close to the price that we offer with Windows 365 today. So from the simplicity level and as well the cost, it's like a great like two-way package that the extra benefit is, as well as like what I said earlier, the consolidation of other services. So out of the box, Windows 365 works with M365 apps. Everything's auto-configured and things like that. And that's like that like next level, entry level experience, out of the box experience for users that they get out of like just spinning up a cloud PC out of the box. So that are the main two elements from a business perspective: the simplicity layer, consolidation. So that could save you labor costs as well because your business is consolidating processes, and as well the fixed price model. Because if you spin up an VM on Azure with Azure Virtual Desktop, you need to do the scaling and everything yourself. Otherwise, you just pay for the DSV for VM, for example, full price, which is roughly like $300 or something per user then per month if you don't do auto scaling or such. And I'll do that auto scaling all in the service. So it's just you pay the price and you have your cloud PC up and running and 24/7 available for you. And that like way of thinking about it, like without, okay, I need to change this time, this working hour, business hour time, because otherwise the cloud PC is not directly available. When is the user working, when he's not working, things like that. That are all kinds of very intense, like complexity processes. And if you reflect like Azure Virtual Desktop, you most likely think about Windows 10 multi-session or Windows 11 multi-session, and that's all like non-persistent. So you bring as well a profile technology like FSLogix, and that product is acquired, and I've been part of that. So I really like that product. Don't get me wrong here, but it adds as well a complexity layer into the product. So if you think about a personalized like cloud PC, then that's your cloud PC. So there's no profile technology needed because you always come back to that machine. And for like that simplicity layer, that brings really that experience that you can compare with a physical PC. So if you have a physical PC administrator, he probably understands how cloud PC is configured from the get-go. And if you explain AVD to a physical PC administrator, like a config manager administrator or something like that, he probably thinks like, that's not my cup of coffee, or something like that, right? And defers to the VDI team or something like that. And that's now like kind of the things that we want to merge and consolidate more. So yeah, it depends how you look at like virtualization. But if you are a VDI customer, if you use VDI, you probably can best move either from on-prem to Azure Virtual Desktop, because that merges the existing processes better with how it works on Azure. It's probably more aggressive to move from on-prem and align with like an IT admin team and structure, which currently maintains a VDI environment, to a product that completely simplifies how VDI works. It could sometimes like conflict as well, because that goes a little bit too fast to like a product that yeah, removes like the complexity which a team was doing as part of their role, because that was one of the benefits they could deliver as part of the team. So that's kind of as well here the two-way balance that you have to maintain, of course, because eventually Windows 365 is not there to yeah, sort of replace a VDI department or something like that. It's there to create new opportunities for existing VDI administrators to do things differently and more modern as well, as part of the Microsoft Endpoint Manager console and unified management capabilities and such. And that's really how you should think about this product as well. It's a little bit long explanation, but I think that provides some context.
Yeah, that two components that you're naming. One is complexity. The second one is costs. Regarding costs, there is a pricing model, fixed price per month per user. What is part of that price? Is there only the running cost for the VM and the Windows 10 and Windows 11 license, or is there other things also incorporated, like the M365 license, for example?
Yeah, it's a good question. So if you purchase Windows 365 Enterprise, then you need to purchase as well Intune. And it could be M365 E3, could be as well somewhere via different like license like version, like the EMS suite, for example, includes as well Intune, so you can use that. It's a little bit cheaper, so you have some flexibility there, but it's not like all included. So maybe that will happen in the future. We don't know yet, but right now the Windows 365 license is a separate license that comes on top of Intune. So most likely a business has already Microsoft 365 E3, and then the only thing you need to purchase on top is Windows 365, and the licenses that we have reflect the performance that you get. So you have licenses from like 1 core, 2 gigs of RAM up to 8 cores, 32 gigs of RAM, and between that all kinds of different sizes are possible, and that reflects basically the scenario, the applications that you use as part of your business. So yeah, we tested those SKUs all internally, so we know that the apps that we provide are working perfectly fine. That's as well that extra level of service, because we are a cloud SaaS solution that we take on behalf of the customer, where a customer goes normally into Azure and then sees a list of 250 kind of sizes or maybe more. And then, yeah, which one should I pick for my environment? And then that layer of complexity starts. Like, hey, I picked this one, I test it with like monitoring solutions or like benchmark tests or such kind of solutions. And then eventually that's the responsibility of your IT department, and that's baked inside the license already. So that license is, of course, the VM. You pay for the VM, but you pay as well for like those kind of tests a little bit, but that doesn't reflect any money that is comparable to the compute or something, because the compute prices of Azure are something you can just look up on the internet. It's not a secret. And if you compare those like core and RAM numbers with Azure, with like Windows 365, it's like just like 10-20% in some cases for what you pay on Azure. So you get a really cheaper price for that, and it is on top of any existing Intune license. So on the website you can find all those licensing models to combine what fits best for your business.
And that's the same for the two editions, the business and the enterprise edition, I assume. But within that both editions, what are the differences?
Yeah, so you bring up a good point. So I didn't touch base on the business version. So what I just explained was the enterprise version, and enterprise is really something you need to remember. Intune, MEM integration is enterprise, and business is without that. So the business product, you do everything separately from MEM. So you don't need MEM for that too. So don't have to bring in like Intune licenses for that. So if you want to kick the tires and use Windows 365 in a very easy manner, then you just have to purchase the Windows 365 business license, and then you're good to go. So no Intune or whatsoever is needed as a dependency. So if that's the kind of approach you want to take, then that's the easiest path to follow, but has less kind of capabilities that the enterprise product has. So think about custom images, all the configuration sets like application delivery, configuration profiles, security baselines, all those things that you can configure in Microsoft Endpoint Manager is something that is not possible with business. You can enroll business into Intune if you have Intune licenses, but it's something we didn't explicitly test it yet, so therefore we don't support it yet, but that could change in the near future. We are working as well for business to bring more IT admin capabilities into the product, meaning that if you log on to the business product, that you can make a user an IT admin as well, and then you get IT admin management capabilities inside the portal separately from MEM. So it's a custom-based portal, and you can make users a user or local admin. So currently that's local admin only. So we want to move away from that. So we will want to make users standard users, and then make them optional local administrators. So that's coming very soon. We will make it possible to select between Windows 10 and Windows 11 for business. Windows 11 will come in early October for enterprise as well, with the selection between 10 and 11. But those kind of things will come to business as well. So we really think that business is sort of where we meet the smaller customers that like never looked at virtualization because it was too expensive. Because hey, I'm just a company with 50 like users. Why should I pay a license that costs me over 100 like euros or 150 bucks per user per year for a virtualization technology where I can just purchase a laptop as well at like eBay or Best Buy and give that to a user? That's more efficient for my business. And with like the business product, you can really make that like affordable and really think, and hey, I have a own device, and here's my corporate desktop running in the cloud, my cloud PC, and then publish everything from a more simplified manner. So we really think that the business product will really impact the small medium business segment regarding remoting virtualization technologies with that simplicity and the licensing model together as like powerful combination.
Oh, well, thanks, Chris, for that explanation. So actually, Windows 365 in an enterprise edition, you can just manage it as you used to your normal devices you're owning, your corporate devices like your Windows 10 or 11 devices. So that's the same policies, the same security baselines you can apply also to your Windows 365 enterprise cloud PCs.
Yeah, that's correct. And you can even configure it in combination with co-management and tenant attached and those things. So you can make it like even hybrid supported as well. So yeah, I've seen like I have been part of like multiple MVP groups, and once I shifted to Windows 365, I set up a more closer connection with the MEM MVP group as well, and I could really feel that they were sort of, I don't know if you experienced that as well, but like the modern management group, like just in general, not MVPs, but just like outside in the field, they really like breed like the modern management kind of structure way of configuring, and they know that that's a more simplified way of doing that. But there was never like a consolidation in that process of, hey, bring virtualization into the mix, while as well bringing the simplicity of a modern management solution. And that's where Brett Anderson, like a little bit more than a year, I think, a little bit more than a year ago, came together with Scott Manchester and Ken Pan. And Ken Pan, probably some of you know, Ken Pan has been one of the directors of SMS and Intune as well in Microsoft. They came together and they were exactly thinking about that, like how can we merge those things together and bring a technology, a solution together in a way that like modern management can deliver as well, like virtualization, like a Windows in the cloud PC, without bringing in actually complexity, and as well the powerful combination of products within Microsoft we already have. So why should you build another technology? Well, we have already something, and that basically was like the birth of Cloud PC, Windows 365. So I'm sitting now in the Intune building, where Intune Microsoft Endpoint Manager is being developed and created, and we are sitting on the 3rd floor and the 2nd floor, basically co-developing this technology with the Microsoft Endpoint Manager team. So.
I think that's a good example how you're strengthening or combining those products in a platform approach and getting out the best or the most out of it. And all those departments were in the past separated silos, when you're now merging them, combining them. Yeah, in the Dutch we call it kruisbestuiving. You see all the inputs, and yeah, it's great to see also the vision and yeah, encouraged to do that, and yeah, that you can see what the result is today. One other thing which is important part, I think, it's compared to a car. A car has a connection with the road and it has tires. It's actually the same with the client, for example. We have a great virtualization experience, but we have and a broad variety of platforms, operating systems, the way how we are bring that virtual desktop to our endpoints, whether it's mobile, whether it's Mac OS. Yeah, can you tell us about the way the capabilities, because they might vary per platform. Is there something I assume we are working on to have the same experience on every single platform?
Yeah, that's a good question. So we currently support any platform basically, but not every platform is the same, because every platform delivers an own client, and the client needs to be supported for all kinds of the like features that we support per different endpoint scenario. So the clients we support today is of course Windows. So from as well the Windows app like MSDC, the installation executable, to as well a modern version, the IWP version from the Microsoft Store. We have a Windows, or not a Windows, a web app as well. So if you go to windows365.microsoft.com, you come in the web experience, and then you can start your Cloud PC from your HTML5 browser from any device as well, which supports HTML5. We have support for Mac OS. We have for iOS and for Android as well. And Android means a phone as well as a tablet as well as a Chromebook. But actually, you brought up a good point. So the strategy is indeed to get feature parity on every device, any endpoint, any OS, to have, for example, device redirection, smart card redirection working on Android as well as on Mac as well as on Windows. Currently, the Windows version is the most feature-rich version of the client. So that brings in USB redirection, Teams redirection for audio and video offloading and such to your endpoint. And that audio and video endpoint redirection for Teams is now available in a preview for the Mac client as well. So there you can already see some movement happening in terms of supporting that as well on a Mac device. So we are not like thinking in, hey, Windows is the best operating system to run Cloud PC on or something like that. We really think that on a Mac, for example, you cannot run like perhaps Windows 11 on a Mac because you are not aligning with the new hardware requirements. So with like the new Windows 11 support coming up for Windows 365, you just create a cloud PC. You could pick like Windows 11 as an image, and then we will align with the hardware requirements with the TPM and such, and then you can just use it on any device you want, even on a very old device that can connect to Cloud PC. So that's a very powerful message, of course. But just to zoom a little bit more into your question, we are thinking as well to perhaps build like clients inside Windows, meaning that when you enroll like Windows, that you don't have to do anything anymore to connect to Cloud PC. So those kind of things are happening right now as well. And on the other side, any client that is supported today will get more merged with like those different feature sets that can be delivered, like redirection capabilities and such. So.
Yeah, it's good to hear that there are the different clients that are available that that they can use. But from that client, we can access that Cloud PC. With that, accessing that Cloud PC from a security perspective, is that the Azure AD is used, the identity, also conditional access, and if so, is there already a cloud app available so we can use it within conditional access to make exclusions on that?
Yeah, it's a good point. So yeah, we have a first-party app which is called Windows 365 that you can configure in conditional access as a cloud app. So that's available. But we really wanted to provide a first-party app because a first-party app means as well that you can use it in the portal.office.com portal on the left. If you click on the waffle, you see Windows 365 there. You can use Azure AD My Apps as well to start Windows 365. But just to come back to your question, yeah, conditional access is possible, just the same as you configured for your physical PC. So just make sure that you connect and configure that Windows 365 cloud app, that first-party app, as part of your configuration. And after that, you can just set up like compliance rules, MFA, things like that. So.
Yeah, and then we have access to that Cloud PC. What are the security measurements within that Cloud PC? Is Defender for Endpoint, for example, used, or do we use the security baseline for Windows 10 or Windows 11 with attack surface reduction rules, for example?
Yeah, it's a good question as well. So so out of the box, if you don't configure anything, it just works the same as like when you configure a physical PC. So it's just a built-in Defender that will be activated. What we support as well is a Defender for Endpoint. So if you have licenses for that, and since like a couple of weeks, like a subset of Defender for Endpoint is supported in P1 as well, meaning that if you have Microsoft 365 E3, you can leverage some of those capabilities as well as part of Cloud PC. So it becomes easier and more approachable to leverage those security enhancements. So we support that as well out of the box. So it just works the same as on a physical PC. So you need to add the agent and then make sure that you have all the rules configured. So Defender for Endpoint is fully supported. And in terms of like security, extra security features we have as well a Windows 365 specific security baseline in the MEM portal. So you can just click on that, create your own custom profile, and then you're good to go. So we are currently adding some extra configuration items to that for Windows 11 as well. So it most likely will stay just one security baseline that is applying to 10 and 11 at the same time to remove some complexity and make it easier for in-place upgrades as well to remain active on the same security baseline.
Yeah, good to hear. So we're covering the access of that Cloud PC, the identity part, the client part, the security part within that Cloud PC the environment. Within that Cloud PC, it's Teams optimized, as it's stated somewhere, but I read it. What is that, and how can you optimize? Because in the past there were various challenges within optimizing Teams and Skype for Business. I know within other environments. What is done within the Cloud PC to make this possible?
Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, like simplicity is key for Windows 365. So what we did is we built our own Windows 365 images that are being maintained by us as a team, as well as the Windows Service and Deployment team that delivers as well all the images in the Azure Marketplace, for example. And what we did inside those images is that we installed Office and as well all the team-specific plugins and such. So what you will see once you create a Windows 365 business or enterprise cloud PC is that out of the box, Teams will activate the plugin to offload the audio and video traffic to your endpoint. There's one remark there that like redirection plugin is working on the Windows client and as well on the Mac OS client in a preview right now. If you want to do that from like Android, for example, then we recommend you to just use the IDP like audio and mic redirection, and then the video is not working. And if it's working, it's probably not at the same quality level. So if you really want to leverage Teams inside a cloud PC, please use the Windows client or as well the Mac client, but the Mac client is in a preview. So it could be that some errors are still occurring in that because we are not shipping it in public January availability yet because of that. So once we do that, then you can use it for production workloads as well. But of course, if you want to just kick the tires and test it out, it already works pretty good. So yeah, so if you want to use Teams with audio and video, then the best way to do is to use the Windows client right now for production workloads.
So Chris, we covered most topics regarding Windows 365. To wrap up things a little bit, also giving the time, one final topic which we partly covered is actually the application landscape. You mentioned already by default, by design, now you are admin on a Windows 365 machine. So you are able to install your applications yourself. Are there other special measurements or other things you did with the Windows 365 in regards to applications? Or is it just as usual as we used to?
Yeah, that's also a good question. So currently we leverage for application delivery the Microsoft Endpoint Manager Intune stack, and we did not add any Windows 365 explicit new features on top of that. So and it's really also not really needed because all the configuration sets that are possible to publish an MSI or an MSIX or things like that works already great. So you can just use that as well the same way. The only difference is that you perhaps configure it to Azure AD group that includes the cloud PCs, or you create a filter that includes the cloud PC device. Things like that are a little bit different. If you do it to all devices, then it will come to the cloud PC as well. So that's really how you structured the way how you configure application delivery. But I think this is really beneficial. If you come from a physical PC management solution like MEM and you have like all your apps already configured in there, the only thing you have to do is add your cloud PCs in there, and then you're good to go. When the cloud PC is being provisioned, then the application will automatically be installed. And that's as well kind of the experience we recommend customers to take, instead of like creating a golden master image or something like that, which is pretty common for virtualization for VDI technologies. But we really want to, like sort of embrace the modern management kind of approach, is use one of the base images, which includes kind of the base apps like M365 apps, the plugins and such, and some configurations for Edge to auto log on and as well OneDrive. And on top of that, layer all your apps just as you want to, as part of your line of business apps that you want to deliver inside your cloud PC. And that's really as well powerful if you, for example, need to reprovision your cloud PC, or you need to create a new cloud PC in a different region, then all those configuration layers will automatically be added to the cloud PC, instead of, hey, I need to bring in all this complexity as well. The good thing as well, we support custom images as well. So if you want to do that and continue doing that, we support that, and we replicate those images as well across the regions you use. So if you use like Amsterdam, West Europe and East US, for example, then that image will automatically be replicated to the other regions. So just to help as well some customers with that, and as well remove some complexity in the migration and the merging process of those images. So
yeah, well, I think it's great, and what's coming up with Windows 365 is simplicity. You have choice. You can take benefit of your current investments when you're already all MEM, for example. Just add Windows 365 to your current estate and just manage it as you used to with your other components in your modern workspace. So I would almost say less is more in this case. So with that, the time flies when you have fun. So many thanks, Christiaan, for your insights and sharing your thoughts about Windows 365. So appreciate it. Also on behalf of the community we have here. And again, many thanks for your time. Wish you all the best also with developing new features. I make some notes like the autopilot thing and a few other things. So great to see. Keep it up, and I will hand it over to Frans, and Frans will wrap it up. And
also from my side, Chris, thanks for joining us, and thank you for joining this event. The next event for our Workplace Ninjas community is on the Tuesday, the 28th of September, where Dieter Wijkmans and Robert Hedblom will give a webinar about pushing your backup strategy to the cloud, what to expect and what to change. And our next Live as Anything recording will be on Tuesday, the 19th of October from 4 to 5 p.m. Central European time. The topic for this live Ask Us Anything will be announced shortly. But if you have topics or other questions, share them with us. For now, I say thank you. Until the next month in the new version of Live Ask Us Anything. See you then. Bye-bye.